Today, you'll understand why the Fast and Furious saga is built on a lie, and how you've been fooled to watch sequels because you were just as ordinary as everyone else.
I don't have friends. I got family.
The reason why sequels turn up to be bad is very simple. No one asked for a sequel. But even though people didn't ask for it, we still somehow go and watch it, which is why they keep making them. The people at Vox made a video explaining some of the data of these sequels, showing that they make on average 8 times more than the original. And something that is particularly important that they also showed here is that the movies might have a very bad score coming from
experienced film critics,
but still somehow managed to make a fortune. Before I even continue explaining the sequels, I want to tell you about the non-existing sponsor of this video. Of course, who the hell would invest in a guy sporting such a lovely specimen of a mustache? But hey, if you want to see more of this bullshit that I every 2 years or so decide to put out, maybe consider sponsoring me, and I'll consider to stop being unemployed. But let's move on. This movie gets 6 scoops of ice cream for a score. For the record, I did give 8 scoops on the first one, mainly because it was pretty revolutionary at the time. The remaining movies of the saga got 6 scoops. Because, to be fair, they would never, and I mean never, be able to stand on their own. Anyway, the production is obviously good, but the story tends to just go too far. Soundtrack, VFX, and sound effects are usually very good, and the acting is actually okay, considering how stupid the scenarios they put them in are. So, do I recommend watching it? No, and yes. I'll explain. Chris Gore talked about sequels being simply more of what you already know. It's not about being original, nor inventive, it just gets what you know and puts it in a bigger or a crazier scenario. He even mentioned how absurd it is that they went to space in this recent Fast and Furious movie. And I was thinking the exact same shit when I saw it! He went on to mention what probably is the biggest problem. Most of these sequels were not meant to be a sequel in the first place. So when they do decide to make a sequel, spoiler alert because money, they have to elaborate on a universe and a story that weren't complex enough to be stretched. And yet, here's where I somehow disagree with him when it comes to the Fast and Furious saga. It works because it lives on top of a big fat lie. Yes, a lie that has become a meme for years and years now, and it's the fact that they would literally jump from a cliff for their families. I know you've seen Vin Diesel singing and crying for the absence of Paul Walker, and maybe that even got you emotional. You've seen the memes of Brian taking a different road with his car because he passed away whilst one of the movies was being shot. I'm sorry, my bad, I just really love this one. Oh god, fuck. These memes point out how ridiculous it is that they're doing all this shit for family. But it works. It works because memes are a great marketing device. But it also works because we would all want a loving and caring family. And by family, I mean a group that recognizes you as part of that something. Because a bunch of them are not even close to being related. So what they call family is just who they love and care about in this case, okay? We as human beings have a desperate need to be part of something. And it comes to an extreme where people don't want to end a violent or a toxic relationship because they fear loneliness, or they don't want to let go of something they used to value. This might even have been accentuated during the pandemic, where we spent more time with our own selves and less with those we care about. So seeing such a strong bond as the one Dominic Toretto shows for his quote-unquote family might even get you emotional. Many studies have shown that being lonely can put you in an unhealthy state, lowering your immune system capabilities and even making people more susceptible to committing a crime. So it is interesting that the young Toretto is shown committing a crime right when he feels like he has been abandoned. Susan Pinker has a great TED Talk where she presents data from studies confirming that people who have a better social life live longer.
As people age, and indeed across their lifespans, they're always surrounded by friends, by neighbors, the priest, the barkeeper, the grocer. They are never left to live solitary lives.
The saga even goes far enough to make us accept the most surreal scenarios that show up in their movies. Where's the bridge? Why? What? What? There's a countdown. Of course there's a countdown. Bah! Damn. I mean... What? As if the truck is flipping like a motherfucker and he's just like running through it all the way. Well, that's what you get when you have a truck driver's license, boy. It's so absurd that they actually made fun of it in this movie, as if they were invincible or some shit like that. I finished the movie with that feeling of, good lord, how did they pull this off? It is just totally out there. And yet, I did feel emotional for a few seconds when they were saving each other or showing love before saying grace at the table like they always do. There's a movie that I one day will hopefully talk about where they use a quote. Happiness is only real when shared. And I always believed in that because if you don't have anyone to share your feelings with, they seem to fade in existence. To be frank, lately I've been feeling more lonely than ever. And watching a silly movie like this makes me remember that we should be reaching out to those we care about. I want to be closer to my friends, and I want to make more friends that care about me and about the things that I love. Which is one of the reasons why I should keep doing this YouTube thing. Because I know it creates a community, and it's basically what I need, and I know a lot of people need that too. So if you get what I mean, maybe reach out. So you're looking at me and thinking, holy fuck, are you getting emotional over Fast and Furious? Hell yeah, man. And I'm glad I am. These lies, they work. And honestly, I wish more movies would hit us on a cheap spot like that, so we'd remember what it is to be human. But anyway, it's very clear the reason why studios invest in sequels is money.
Show me the money.
They see someone coming into their office with a brand new idea and a fresh script. And even though that script could be crazy good, they just have no proof that it would sell. They want their investment to bring profits, just as you would if you invested your own money. So they invest in what is safe. Can you blame them? Not really. But when we, as an audience, love fresh and interesting movies, it is just a bummer to see these shitty ideas being made over and over and over again.
And why the fuck are you wasting my 2 precious hours with your movie?
And just as I was recording this video, the new Matrix trailer was released. And here are some comments that caught my attention. You gotta admit it's funny, no one really asked for this, but we sure as hell are curious to know what it will be about. At least I am. Anyway, perhaps you haven't noticed, but good movies are oozing out of every corner you press nowadays. It is purely a matter of knowing how to search for them. So the problem is not that we don't have good movies, is that most people are being sold on cheap ideas because the people making them are masters at marketing for the right people. Listen to this.
It's a different time now. They make movies for specific audiences as opposed to just making good movies. And that's why people stop going to the movies, because most of the movies suck.
So their focus is not only on making movies because they're passionate about it, they make movies to sell within a niche, even if it's a huge one. But hey, I can hear you from here, Mr. Scorsese.
The problem is the amusement park films.
Here's a reality check for you. Most people want to be sold on that cheap shit. They want to be entertained and escape from their regular life just as much as we all do. And the choice of how to escape is very personal. In fact, I'd like to compare him saying that he fears cinema as we know, dying, to a picture I once saw at a museum in Brussels. The horse and carriage owners thought it was unacceptable that trains were to steal all of their work. What will the horses do now, they said. Honestly, if you're afraid of change, perhaps you forgot that what you do now was once said to be stealing someone else's power and control. Now you might say that many movies could have been good but were ruined by studios trying to make it more appealing to a broader audience. Or even that these big budget movies are taking space from the cinema, giving less room for better movies and pushing them to streaming websites. And I actually agree. So what the hell is my point here? Well, my point is that you should love the craft for what it is. You don't need to love a Fast and Furious movie, but you can certainly appreciate the fact that this series has helped in developing many skills and many careers of those involved in action movies, for example. Actors, stuntmen, scene coordinators, prop developers, and so it goes. And I do have to mention how much of an influence the first Fast and Furious movie had on creating the Need for Speed Underground series, which was at the time one of the biggest things we could ever imagine. We were freaking out over the idea of customizing so many things in a game that had now become focused on the culture surrounding fast cars, and not only racing anymore. So god damn it, thank you for those beautiful years of my life. And hey, maybe you're not into the action genre, so what the hell, but if you truly love movies or video games, you should be loving even the crappy things that led us to the amazing ones that you do appreciate. After all, even a bad movie can make you laugh from it being so bad. But that's just me. I'll see you in 2 years.
Maybe.
Maybe.